Nope. I agree. A hardworking and outstanding employee like Little Sue should be converted to a full-time member early. All the managers spoke up in agreement. As they did, they directed amiable smiles to Su Jingxing. Whether they were sincere or not, they had to make their positions clear at this point. Because this incident was no joke. If handled well, the crematorium would undoubtedly reap considerable praise. If not, even the crematorium would have to join in the compensations. Correspondingly, in the eyes of others, Su Jingxing, who had caused trouble, had nothing better to do and was nosy. So what if the man wasn't dead? Once he was cremated, who would know that he wasn't dead? Su Jingxing was already prepared for this. He was no longer the person who had just transmigrated. If he leaves the crematorium, extracting cards would be more troublesome, but there wouldn't be a big impact on him. Wu Shuhan making clear his stand was within expectations. Other than his position being confirmed, his monthly income had also increased. 10,000 great $. That's right. An intern's monthly salary was only $1,000, and one had to work half a year. After becoming a full-time employee, it becomes $10,000 at once and with various benefits on top of it. This system adopted by the crematorium had stopped many people. However, those who persevered were doing well. At least, they were making enough to support their family. Those who did not need to provide for their families, such as Feng Taijian, ate and played every day. Initially, Su Jingxing still had more than a month before he could become a full-time employee. Now that it was brought forward, his heart was calm and his face was filled with excitement. He thanked the director. "Thank you, director. You're welcome, you deserve it." Wu Shuhan continued to channel internal force. Although Su Jingxing had guessed something, he still asked curiously when he saw his actions, "Director, what are you trying to wake him up?" Wu Shuhan chuckled. "This. Right, what's his name?" "Zhang Shanfu," Su Jingxing replied. "Zhang Shanfu, is it?" Wu Shuhan nodded. "Zhang Shanfu's cause of death is drowning. This means that his biggest injury is internal injuries. Coincidentally, the internal force that I cultivate has healing properties. It is especially obvious for internal injuries. Zhang Shanfu is being brought back to life after a false death. If we give him internal force now, he will recover faster. If his injuries are not serious, he will wake up soon." "I see," Kong de Bao said, envy filling his face. The others also nodded in agreement, as if they shared the honor as well. Su Jingxing gave him a thumbs up. Wu Shuhan's internal force was indeed effective. He could hear Zhang Shanfu's heartbeat getting stronger. This meant that the internal exercise that Wu Shuhan cultivated was not average. Ordinary internal exercises do not have this ability. Of course. It would still take a while to wake Zhang Shanfu up. Wu Shuhan's internal force was used to protect Zhang Shanfu's body and mind to revive him completely so that he would not die again due to some accident. Therefore, after channeling some internal force into Zhang Shanfu's body, Wu Shuhan led the management to carry Zhang Shanfu out of the morgue to be treated. Su Jingxing and Kong de Bao stayed behind and continued working. What happened next had nothing to do with Su Jingxing. Word of this matter spread very quickly. After all, this was the first time that a person who was about to be cremated in the Western District crematorium was found to be still alive. Everyone in the crematorium, including the families of the deceased who happened to be sending them off today, were discussing fervently. During lunch, Gu Bo, Feng Taijian, and the rest of the team went to Su Jingxing and gave him a thumbs up. "Little Su, well done. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't have discovered it." Feng Taijian bit into a prawn and sighed. "Yeah, who would expect Zhang Shanfu to still be alive?" Gu Bo agreed. He, you guys don't know, but when Little Su said that Zhang Shanfu wasn't dead, he gave me a big scare." Kong de Bao winked. "That's for sure, even I would be shocked." This is the difference between all of you and Little Sue. You guys have been moving corpses for years, but in the end, your guts are nothing compared to Little Sue's. TSK. You make it sound like you wouldn't be afraid if you were there. Well, isn't it because young people are healthier and gutsier? The group joked as they ate. Su Jingxing, as the person involved, was the target of all the jokes. Su Jingxing's mouth twitched as he listened. He quickly changed the topic. I heard that Zhang Shanfu has woken up. Yes, just a few minutes ago. Gu Bo nodded. He is lucky too. He fell into the water after being frightened and almost drowned. Frightened? Su Jingxing caught the key point. In Sky Water River. Feng Taijian interjected. Many people claim to have seen a very big black shadow in the Sky Water River these few days. It's said to be a mutated beast in the water. Mutated beast in the water? Su Jingxing's eyes lit up. Really? Whether it's true or not, we don't know yet, Gu Bo explained. However, there were indeed many people who saw it. Zhang Shanfu was not the only one who was shocked. He's considered lucky. He fell into the water and was quickly pulled up. I heard that a few people disappeared after falling in. Disappeared? They were eaten. How come I didn't know about this? Kong de Bao was wide-eyed. I heard it from someone else this morning. Gu Bo put down his chopsticks. Right now, whether it's true or not remains to be confirmed. However, for safety's sake, the public security team has already set up a blockade by the river. I believe that the Martial Suppression Office has also shown up. As for the details, we still have to wait for news. Feng Taijian shook his head and said, the massacre of the Dagger Gang and consecutive extermination of 2 branches of the Black Tiger Gang caused many innocent deaths and angered the Martial Suppression Office that the entirety of their forces were mobilized to investigate the mastermind. Otherwise, I believe we would have long figured out the situation in the Sky Water River. There's no rush now. Kong de Bao pondered for a moment before saying, as long as no one appears by the river, what can the mutated beasts in the Sky Water River do? Not necessarily. Su Jingxing thought to himself. He had just learned about the existence of suspected mutated beasts in the Sky Water River. For the same reason as the Martial Suppression Division. Over the past few days, he had been paying attention to Duan Feihong and company. Yesterday, he was busy taking revenge on Wan Rong. He really didn't know about the incident at the Sky Water River. The Sky Water River was a long river that came down from the Green Cloud Mountain Range. It was less than 100 meters away in front of the crematorium's main entrance, and geographically, it surrounded the Qinghe city. In ancient times, the Sky Water River was used as the moat of Qinghe city. Its width ranged between 200 to 500 meters, and the deepest section was nearly 100 meters deep. All along, the Sky Water River had been an important resource of Qinghe city. Relying on this river, the profits were abundant every year. Now that there was an existence suspected to be a mutated beast in the water, thorough investigations would definitely be done. Of course, before the situation becomes serious, the people on patrol from the Martial Suppression Office would not be too strong. And this gave Su Jingxing an opportunity. The corpses of mutated beasts, be it savage beasts or spiritual beasts, could be extracted. And quite a number of cards could be obtained. If there is really a mutated beast in the water, what cards will I extract? Su Jingxing did not expect himself to kill the mutated beast in the water. I only hope that when the mutated beast in the water is dead, I can go close to the corpse. As for whether it is killed by the Martial Suppression Office or the Public Security Team, it doesn't matter. Therefore, I have to keep an eye on the news from the Sky Water River for the next few days. Of course, if I have the time, it would be best if I go to the river personally. Many thoughts flashed through his mind as Su Jingxing made his decision. The night was cold. The gentle moonlight poured down from the sky and onto the surface of Sky Water River that was rippling from the caress of the breeze. 1 a.m. in the morning. Next to the southern river bank of the Sky Water River, Su Jingxing held his saber and walked quietly among the dark trees. The dark environment was no different from daytime to him. Night vision. Su Jingxing finally succeeded in activating the secret ability after breaking through with a large amount of internal force. Now, it had come in handy. Accompanied with advanced hearing, he listened to his surroundings while staring at the Sky Water River. Whoosh! The river water rippled and splashed. Su Jingxing had been walking along the river bank for more than half an hour. The Sky Water River flowed peacefully as usual. That mutated beast in the water didn't seem to exist at all. Was it just a rumor that snowballed? Plop! A large fish suddenly jumped out of the water and dropped back into the river, causing a huge ripple. Su Jingxing, who was deep in thought, suddenly gained a flash of inspiration when he saw this scene. Yes, it is too passive of me to wait for the mutated beast to show itself. Why can't I take the initiative to make it reveal itself? It is rumored that this mutated beast is a cannibal and was most likely bloodthirsty. It is better to lure it with blood than to wait on without any clues. After all, the section of the Sky Water River that surrounds the city alone is more than 10 kilometers long. Who knows where the mutated beast would appear? With this in mind, Su Jingxing stopped walking and observed his surroundings for a moment. After confirming that there was no one around, he walked out from the darkness and walked slowly along the river bank, keeping his eyes on the river surface at all times. All of a sudden. Swish! Su Jingxing's figure suddenly flashed and disappeared on the spot, rushing towards the water surface. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, a huge fish that was coming up for breath leaped out of the water and flew into midair before landing back into the water. However, the moment it fell into the river, the saber in Su Jingxing's hand tore through the air and pierced through the body. Who? He was as light as a swallow and as graceful as a shadow. A fish on his saber, his feet tapped lightly on the water surface. Su Jingxing swept across the river surface and turned around in mid-air before gently drifting back to the river bank. The 8 steps rising dragon, at the peak of perfection, allowed Su Jingxing to fly across the water like a bird even without true energy. His agile body and extremely fast speed aided him in catching a fish easily. However, the blood drained from a half-meter-long fish was not enough to lure the mutated beast. Even if there were more than 20 of them, the amount of blood they drained would be pitifully little. It is too troublesome for some to force the mutated beast out using fish blood. I have to find other types of blood. For example, pig's blood. The problem is, where am I going to get a large basin of pig's blood in the middle of the night? While Su Jingxing was in thought, he removed the big fish from the tip of his saber and threw it back into the water. There was no smell of blood, so he could not lure the mutated beast in the water out. In that case, he would have to come back tomorrow night. He was not prepared for tonight. Tomorrow night, I'll bring enough pig. There's the smell of blood. Suddenly, Su Jingxing's expression froze. He sniffed lightly and caught a strong scent of blood that floated towards him along with the night wind. Such a strong smell of blood, how many people died? Puzzled, Su Jingxing melted back into the dark area and swiftly headed in the direction of the scent of blood. Swish! Swish! After executing 8 steps rising dragon, his body flashed rapidly in the darkness. A few minutes later, Su Jingxing came to the edge of a viewing platform. He looked down at the steps below the platform that were close to the river. There were more than 10 people standing there. 2 of them were each holding a large plastic bucket and pouring dark red liquid into the water. Fresh blood. That's right, it is indeed fresh blood, but not human blood. It is pig's blood. Now that he got closer, Su Jingxing could tell that the blood that poured into the river was not human blood. He also recognized the dozen or so people standing on the steps. The Martial Suppression Office. Su Jingxing had even exchanged blows with the person leading them before, Qi Zhaochen. The Martial Suppression Office's Western District Commissioner of Command, the 7th grade Qi Zhaochen, had come to the Sky Water River in the middle of the night with a group of subordinates to pour pig's blood into it. The purpose was self-evident. He had the same idea as Su Jingxing, lure out the mutated beast in the water. Compared to Su Jingxing, Qi Zhaochen and company were well prepared. Apart from custom-made weapons, they also had fishing nets, javelins, bows, and so on. Without a doubt, Qi Zhaochen had come because he was certain. His actions proved that there was indeed a mutated beast in the Sky Water River. This saves me a lot of trouble. Su Jingxing hid in the dark and waited quietly as he watched Qi Zhaochen and company got busy. 2 large buckets of pig's blood were poured into the river. The water in front of the steps was already dark red. Even under the moonlight, it was especially prominent. After pouring the pig's blood, Qi Zhaochen and company threw a live piglet into the river. As the piglet howled, the group retreated from the river bank and spread out, hiding in various corners. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Soon, 10 minutes had passed. The little piglet had stopped howling and was about to swim back to the shore. The mutated beast in the water did not appear either. Failed? Su Jingxing was confused. Does the mutated beast not eat pigs to begin with, or did it see through our scheme? Since mutated beasts had developed sentience, it was not surprising that they could see through Qi Zhaochen's plan. Chief, what should we do? At the same time, the Martial Suppression Office's members who were lying in ambush beside Qi Zhaochen were discussing in low voices. That fellow wouldn't know we were baiting him, would it? Or does it not like pig's blood? Or perhaps, this beast only eats humans. A savage beast? Several members of the Martial Suppression Office guessed the reason for the failure of the plan. Qi Zhaochen's eyes flickered as he remained silent. Suddenly, his expression turned solemn and he ordered in a low voice, "Stay here and keep an eye on the water." "Yes, Chief." The few people in the discussion subconsciously responded. Qi Zhaochen stepped out of the corner and walked to the riverside. He drew his saber with his right hand and extended his left hand. Is this guy thinking of? Su Jingxing, who was watching Qi Zhaochen, could not help but feel his eyelids twitch when he saw this. Sure enough, as soon as the thought appeared in Su Jingxing's mind, Qi Zhaochen had sliced the palm of his left hand with the saber. Blood gushed out and dripped into the river. Chief. B** starred. D** Ned Beast. Seeing Qi Zhaochen's actions, the Martial Suppression Office's members who were lying in ambush were all furious, cursing the man-eating mutated beast inwardly. Since the pig's blood had no effect, Qi Zhaochen used his own blood as bait. If the hunt failed later, they would not be too ashamed to face anyone in the future. How ruthless! Su Jingxing also admired Qi Zhaochen's actions. In order to lure out the mutated beast in the water, this commissioner of command was going all out. And the effect was very obvious. Less than half a minute after Qi Zhaochen dripped his blood into the river, a long shadow suddenly broke through the surface of the water in the calm Sky Water River and rushed toward him. It's coming. Su Jingxing perked up. It's coming. Attention everyone. The Martial Suppression Office's members cried out in low voices, their eyes fixed on the black figure that broke through the water. By the river bank, Qi Zhaochen did not stop. He allowed his blood to spill into the river. The blood of a martial artist was purer than that of an ordinary person, and it contained essence energy. Since he had already cut his hand, he had to lure this mutated beast out of the water no matter what. Having come this far, it was already an open conspiracy. Qi Zhaochen used himself as bait to blatantly tell the mutated beast in the water that if it wanted to eat him, it had to get out here. Bam! With an explosion, the water surface was flung upwards. Qi Zhaochen's plan succeeded. With a splash, a large black shadow charged aggressively out of the river and pounced towards Qi Zhaochen. Who? A foul wind swept across the area as energies raged. Swoosh! Qi Zhaochen stepped back rapidly, changing his position again and again to avoid the giant mouth with the snake tongue that was coming towards him. That's right. This mutated beast in the water was a snake. A huge, glossy, gray snake with black stripes that was as thick as a water tank. It was unknown how long it was exactly, but just the section that was out of the water was already 20 to 30 meters long. At this moment, it opened its bloody mouth that was full of pustules and stinky flesh and lunged at Qi Zhaochen. It didn't even need to stretch out or draw back. Moving swiftly, it simply chased after Qi Zhaochen, turning left or right, pushing forward without end. Clearly. It also had its eyes on Qi Zhaochen. It vowed to swallow this delicious human that was still dripping blood. Whoosh! 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 In an instant, the stench of blood engulfed the riverbank. Seeing Qi Zhaochen dodge around miserably, the Martial Suppression Office's members lying in ambush in the various corners woke up. At the same time, they all struck, throwing javelins, releasing arrows, and casting fishing nets. Su Jingxing witnessed the entire process. The massive snake attacked quickly and had a clear target. It would be difficult for Qi Zhaochen to kill it alone. The others had to work together with him to do it. The round-up by the Martial Suppression Office's group could provide Su Jingxing with relevant information. For example, Dang! 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 Qi! 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 With a series of sounds, the arrows, javelins, spears, silenced bullets, and other attacks that poured onto the snake were all deflected. No, it was more accurate to say that they had slipped off. Not only did the giant snake's glossy skin carry astonishing defense, it was also as slippery as wax. All the attacks lost their aim the moment they came into contact with it, and the force dispersed in other directions before finally missing. Qi Zhaochen took advantage of the time when his companions were disrupting the giant snake to charge forward with his saber. He came to the side of the snake on footwork and slashed down ruthlessly, hitting the neck of the snake. Yet, the force of tens of thousands of caddies did not take effect. At least 9,000 caddies were thrown into the air by the slipping effect of the snake's skin. The huge snake's head, which was as big as a car, crashed into Qi Zhaochen and sent him into the air. He was thrown more than 10 meters away and landed heavily on the ground. Roar! A stinky snarl echoed along the riverbank. After its first strike succeeded, the snake left the sky-water river entirely and came to the shore. Su Jingxing got a measurement after a quick scan. 68 meters. This thick snake was almost 70 meters long. The two ends of the body were smaller and the middle was large. Its abdomen in the middle looked as though it had swallowed an elephant. It was extremely bloated. Even so, it didn't slow down at all. After sending Qi Zhaochen flying, its thick tail swept through the air, swinging towards those exposed Martial Suppression Office's members. Who? The strong wind swept across the riverbank. Bam! 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 None of the Martial Suppression Office's members were able to dodge, and they were all thrown into the air by the snake's tail. When they fell to the ground one by one, most of them lost their mobility and could no longer attack. A small group of them also vomited blood. They were in intense pain, as if all of their bones were broken. Calling for reinforcements. The southern bank of the Sky-Water River, calling for reinforcements. Qi Zhaochen gritted his teeth and stood up. With a pale face, he ran to a hidden walkie-talkie hidden nearby and growled in a low voice. Who would have thought that this giant snake, which had barely appeared for a few days, would be so powerful? It was one thing to have a large body and astonishing defense, but the most important thing was that the snake's skin was so slippery, and most attacks slid away. With this sort of special attribute, it was simply impossible for martial artists below the 6th grade to fight against it. Only true energy could deal damage to it. Qi Zhaoqian called for reinforcements, but it was already too late. By the time reinforcements arrived, the group would be almost completely wiped out and devoured by the giant snake. Of course, that was the normal situation. Apart from Qi Zhaoqian and his men, only the big snake was present. Neither Qi Zhaoqian nor the snake knew about Su Jingxing's existence. He was the exception. Su Jingxing had figured out the characteristics of the snake's ability by now. Unlike the red-scaled porcupine, which only had terrifying defense, the snake's speed, defense, strength, and slickness, Su Jingxing quickly thought of a way to deal with them after understanding it. Using the Three Origins Saber Art and the Human Origin volume of the Three Origins Saber Art was naturally the easiest. However, Su Jingxing only had a total of 2 true energy cards. One had already been used, and the remaining one was to be kept as a trump card. Therefore, he came up with another solution. That was 100,000 caddies of strength. Whoosh! Whoosh! The stench still lingered on the riverbank. Bang! Qi Zhaoqian, who was attacking the giant snake with his saber, was sent flying again. He crashed into 3 trees and dropped to the ground, vomiting blood. SSSS. The meandering snake slithered quickly and opened its bloody mouth to catch up to Qi Zhaoqian. Qi Zhaoqian, who could no longer move, let out a miserable laugh, gave up struggling and waited for death. However, when the snake's huge mouth was half a meter away from Qi Zhaoqian. Roar! The giant snake that had its head lowered suddenly let out a long howl of pain as its huge body twisted crazily. However, only the upper half of its body could be twisted, and the lower half of the body was firmly restrained. Especially its tail, which was dripping with blood, it was already out of the snake's control. It was Su Jingxing who caught the giant snake with 3 custom-made throwing daggers in each hand. The moment the snake swept Qi Zhaoqian away and pounced to devour him earlier, Su Jingxing, who had joined the battle like a ghost, stabbed his treasure weapon that was infused with internal force into the tail of the snake with 100,000 caddies of brute strength. It was true that snake skin was slippery, but it was also relative. When one's strength was strong enough, and aim at a point to penetrate at high speed, it could still be broken. The treasure weapon broke through the snake's skin and stabbed into the flesh. Then, it was replaced with a throwing dagger. Su Jingxing naturally had a pivotal point now. At this moment, he exerted strength in his waist and hugged the snake's tail with all his strength. As the giant snake roared in pain, it tried to turn its head and attack him. The second before it did, like a massive dragon turning the mountains upside down, he forcefully shook the huge snake that weighed more than 10 tons. Then, he lifted it. Puff! A shrill sound of wind breaking resounded on the riverbank. With his strength alone, Su Jingxing picked up the giant snake like a rod and swung it wildly. Boom! 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 Heavy explosions resounded without end on the riverbank, spreading far and wide. The giant snake was almost 70 meters long. Every time it tried to bend its body, it was forcefully stopped by Su Jingxing. It was now stretched straight while trembling. Then, like an iron rod, Su Jingxing held it in his arms and smashed it into the ground. The hard concrete floor and the river levee were all smashed apart, sending large chunks of rock flying into the air. Or he swept it towards the small forest behind the riverbank, knocking down the trees and crushing the bushes, creating deep pits and large holes in the soil. The fierce wind produced during the sweep was mixed with bits of grass and soil, flying everywhere. Pooh! Wah! The giant, which had lost its ability to control itself, opened its bloody mouth and spat out a large amount of liquid, as well as the skeleton or semi-skeleton of an animal or perhaps a human. This fellow has really eaten humans before. The flesh and blood of the human body that was swallowed by it had already corroded, leaving only incomplete and broken bones. Presently, with Su Jingxing's throw, it returned to the world. Paw thump. Paw thump. Paw thump. One after another. In less than 3 minutes, more than 20 human skeletons were spat out of the giant snake's mouth and smashed onto the ground. Su Jingxing, Qi Zhaochen, and his men all witnessed this scene. No one expected the giant snake to have devoured so many people. Most importantly, there were so many human bodies and even more animal bones. How were they stuffed into the snake's abdomen? Although the esophagus and stomachs of snakes have strong contractility, it was still shocking to see so many corpses piled up together. It was no wonder that the middle part of the snake's body had been so bloated. Obviously, this fellow was a big eater. After eating so many people, the giant snake did not have the slightest ability to resist, completely at Su Jingxing's mercy as he smashed it onto the ground and across the trees with his full strength. To avoid affecting the people from the martial suppression office, Su Jingxing was moving towards the direction he came from as he swung the snake. Thus, the riverbank, forest, and ground along the way were all destroyed, filled with pits and cracks. Pieces of rock were thrown into the air and soil was scattered everywhere. These fell into the river, causing large splashes. At the same time, the plopping sounds were especially loud. The originally clear river water was now extremely turbid. The fish and prawns in the water were fleeing frantically. Boom! 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 The loud noises did not stop. On the riverbank, a belt of ruins that was hundreds of meters long was quickly born. Near the viewing platform, Qi Zhaochen and the others recovered from their shock. They supported each other to sit or stand as they looked at the ragged ruin zone. For a moment, there was dead silence. Who is he? I've got no idea. This guy is way too strong. The condition of his physical body is way too sick. That's right. This is the first time I've seen such a powerful physical body. It's the same for me, not to mention you. With this kind of body, no matter what barbarian comes, they can only admit defeat. The martial suppression office's members with varying degrees of injuries endured the waves of pain that came from their bodies. As they panted, they all spoke in disbelief, diverting their attention to minimize the pain. Qi Zhaochen was more or less the same. He leaned against a backdrop rock and looked into the distance at the smashing that was still going on. His eyes were filled with astonishment and he was still in a state of shock. If not for the sudden appearance of this expert who interfered in the battle, he would have already been swallowed and turned into those bones that the snake spat out. No flesh, only bones. Boom! 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 The loud sounds echoed along the riverbank. Su Jingxing was covered in mist, and his strength seemed endless. However, the giant snake could not hold on any longer and soon stopped struggling, allowing Su Jingxing to fling and smash it. However, Su Jingxing did not let go. He continued to hug the giant snake and dropped it towards the ground and the riverbank, causing massive destruction. Playing dead. Playing dead in front of me? Dream on. That's right. The giant snake looked like it had been smashed to death. Its glossy skin was in tatters, and there were several holes on its head. Its head was bleeding, and it was no different from a corpse. However, Su Jingxing did not receive any notifications from the cheat ability. What did this mean? It meant that the giant was pretending to be dead. If Su Jingxing were to fall for it and end his attack, this fellow would either suddenly counterattack or escape quickly. Either outcome would not benefit Su Jingxing. Since he had come to this point, Su Jingxing did not want things to backfire at the final moment. He continued to swing and hit it around without stopping. Sure enough, not long after, the giant snake resumed its snarl and struggled frantically, making its final resistance. It was a pity that Su Jingxing, who had unleashed his full strength, was still some time away from exhaustion. The giant snake's final madness lasted for less than half a minute under Su Jingxing's constant suppression. This time, it was finally dead. Mutated beast corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Su Jingxing, who had thrown away the giant snake and was panting heavily, answered inwardly. He was finally done with it. Su Jingxing was probably the first person in Qinghe City to kill a thick snake that was almost 70 meters long. Although he was not exhausted, mist was rising above his head and his clothes were drenched. As he stood there, his surging qi and blood were like boiling oil, flowing continuously. Huff, huff, huff. He was panting heavily. Ba-dump. 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 His heart was beating like a drum. Splash. The night wind blew and the river water rippled. The sound of a car came from afar. Su Jingxing, who had calmed down a little, caught it and did not check the function card anymore. He decisively retrieved the throwing daggers from the tail of the big snake, then executed the 8 steps rising dragon and flew back to the viewing platform. Hundreds of meters were covered in the blink of an eye. Swoosh! After bending down to pick up the treasure saber that he had thrown on the ground earlier, Su Jingxing turned around and rushed towards the sky water river. Amidst the exclamations from Qi Zhaochen and company, he flew across the river like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, and disappeared into the forest on the north bank. What a powerful lightness skill! Furthermore, his attainments are extremely high, he has at least reached the level of perfection. Who is he? Who exactly is this person? He has a sick physical body and powerful lightness skills. Logically speaking, he cannot be a nobody. When did such a powerful martial artist appear in the Western District? Who knows? Maybe he's from another district, or maybe he has just arrived in Qinghe City. Hey, did any of you get a clear look of what this expert looks like? No. His body was shrouded in fog. I couldn't see him at all. Neither could I. While cheering for one another, the Martial Suppression Office's members marveled at Su Jingxing. Even Qi Zhaochen, as he gasped from breath against the rock, regretted not asking for Su Jingxing's name earlier. If not for Su Jingxing, his entire team would have been wiped out. On the other side, Su Jingxing, who took the small paths and alleys, found a remote corner. He spent half an hour to restrain the restless aura, qi, and blood in his body and return to normal. Then, he took out the card he extracted and read the description. At the next moment, he was delighted, overjoyed and surprised. It was actually a storage card. As the name implied, storage cards were cards that could store items. Its interior was an independent space that could be sealed on any part of Su Jingxing. In other words, the small space obtained after the storage card was unlocked could be placed wherever Su Jingxing liked. His chest, shoulders, eyebrows, thighs, arms. Anywhere. To facilitate retrieval and storage, Su Jingxing decisively placed it in his palm. Right palm. The next time he extracts a new storage card, he would place it in his left palm. The storage space in his palm couldn't be seen by the naked eye or felt. Only Su Jingxing's mind could enter and exit it at will. Su Jingxing checked carefully and confirmed that the storage space was 10 meters long and wide, and 2 meters tall. Although it wasn't very big, it was enough for Su Jingxing's current use. Treasure sabers, throwing daggers, secret manuals, cards, corpse-dissolving liquid, strength pill jars, and arcane pill jars were all placed inside, for Su Jingxing to retrieve at his convenience. In short, it was very worth having spent so much effort to kill the mutated beast snake. A storage card was more useful than the golden body cards, mighty strength cards, body strengthening cards and invisibility cards with only one-time use. Not to mention the essence energy cards and strength enhancement cards. After all, there were too many extraction sources of the essence energy card and strength enhancement card. As long as one was human, one would possess strength and energy. The mighty strength card and the body strengthening card were similar. All barbarians had them. Su Jingxing had yet to figure out the principles behind the martial arts practice card and the requiem card, so he would reserve his comments on them for now. Only the storage card, such a special spatial function card, could not be extracted from humans. Now, Su Jingxing finally understood. Why had the middle part of the giant snake's body expanded so much? It was more than twice the size of ordinary snakes. This was the giant snake's innate divine power. Its stomach was its own independent space. The food it ate could be stored in large quantities. Of course, this independent space should not be very large. Otherwise, the storage space that Su Jingxing extracted would definitely be more than 100 square meters. The cards extracted by the cheat ability depended on the corpses. The giant snake had 5 abilities: defensive, slippery, spatial, corrosive, and immense strength. Perhaps it was poisonous as well. The cheat ability extracted the spatial ability. Su Jingxing was very satisfied. Its defense and strength were still alright. But its slipperiness and corrosive nature, even if they were for free, Su Jingxing would have to consider if he really wanted them. This space was the real good thing. Especially the next day, when Su Jingxing went to work and extracted cards, he found that the cards had automatically appeared in the storage space instead of his pocket. This had him even more delighted. Big surprise. This is another surprise, haha. It was actually rather inconvenient when the cards appear in his pockets. Other things aside, Su Jingxing had to wear clothes with pockets if he was heading out. Now, the function cards will appear in the storage space directly. It was convenient and also dispelled a lot of invisible trouble. He had made a killing from the operation last night. Little Su, what are you so happy about? Tell me and let me be happy too. During their break, Gubo walked over from afar and shouted at Su Jingxing. Oh, it's nothing. Su Jingxing calmed himself down and restrained his smile. He asked, Team leader, is anything the matter? Why? Can't I look for you for no reason? Gubo snorted. Ha, of course you can. Su Jingxing laughed. But, Captain, you're usually busy at this time. You must be here for something. Alright, kid. Gubo was surprised. He smiled and said, you guessed right. I'm looking for you. Do you remember Zhang Shanfu? Yes, why? Su Jingxing was puzzled. Did something happen to him again? Zhang Shanfu was the first person that Su Jingxing to be alive since he started moving corpses. Not that. He's just here to repay your kindness, Gubo said with a smile. Huh? Su Jingxing was surprised. Repayment? He has been discharged so soon. He insisted on leaving, Gubo explained. Zhang Shanfu's condition wasn't serious. After he woke up, there was basically no problem. All that was left was to recuperate. Staying in the hospital would cost money, so it was better to spend that money on some good food. So, early this morning, Zhang Shanfu left the hospital and returned home. As for coming to look for you, it's to repay your kindness. Zhang Shanfu said that if not for you, he would have turned into ashes. Well, Su Jingxing hesitated. While this was indeed the case, that without his reminder, Zhang Shanfu would have already turned into ashes. Su Jingxing never thought of getting any repayment for this. He was aware of the situation with Zhang Shanfu's family. They were not rich. Let's not talk about this or that for now. You can go over first and then see if you wish to accept it. Gubo waved his hand and said, Zhang Shanfu is waiting for you at the entrance. You don't have to worry about things here for now. Okay. Su Jingxing thought for a while and nodded. Sorry to trouble you, team leader. I'll be right back. You're being too polite, boy. Get out of here. Now. Gubo waved his hand impatiently. Su Jingxing smiled and headed straight to the entrance. From afar, he saw Zhang Shanfu, who was still rather pale, waiting in the pavilion at the entrance with his family. Once they saw Su Jingxing coming over. Thump. 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 With Zhang Shanfu leading the way, the entire family, old and young, suddenly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Su Jingxing. Hey, hey. Su Jingxing was startled and hurriedly ran over to help them up. Get up quickly. What are you doing? Get up, get up. Benefactor, don't stop us. Let us give you a few kowtows. We won't be at ease if we don't. Zhang Shanfu's white-haired father looked thin and did not have much flesh, but he was very strong. Without using his mighty strength, Su Jingxing could not do anything to him. However, when Su Jingxing helped one up, another would kneel down. He, who only had 2 hands, had no choice but to watch as Zhang Shanfu and his family gave him 3 kowtows. With great difficulty, he managed to calm the family down. Su Jingxing glanced at the family members of other deceased who were pointing in their direction from afar and sighed. Uncle Zhang, Grandpa Zhang, you don't have to do this. I was just surprised at that time, I thought that I had seen wrong. That's why I went up to check out of curiosity. I never thought of asking for anything in return. We know, we know. Grandpa Zhang wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and said in a choking voice, You are a good person. Su Jingxing was speechless. Only a truly good person would go forward to check. Grandpa Zhang took a deep breath and said solemnly, I heard that if it wasn't for your persistence, Shanfu would have been sent into the furnace and burned into ashes. When Zhang Shanfu heard this, his body trembled subconsciously. As the person involved, he felt this most clearly. The fear, ecstasy, and gratitude he felt after escaping death was something that others were unable to understand. Only he himself knew how it felt, and even now, he was still unable to completely calm down. This was also why he wanted to repay Su Jingxing no matter what. Little Su, I can call you this, right? Zhang Shanfu took a deep breath and asked tentatively. Of course. Su Jingxing nodded. To be honest, little Su. I don't have much money at home. Although I say that I'm repaying you, I'm actually very ashamed, I can't bring out anything good. Zhang Shanfu looked ashamed as he said, I only have this little thing. It's barely worth it. I hope you will accept it. As he spoke, he took out a small box and opened it to reveal. A sword? Yes, it was indeed a sword. It was a gray, withered, and blunt wooden sword the size of a grown man's middle finger. It is very small, but is it really not a child's toy? Although he was puzzled, Su Jingxing's countenance remained unchanged. Cough. Zhang Shanfu was a little embarrassed as well. He said in a low voice, little Su, it may seem unremarkable, but this thing is very strange. It can't be broken with a knife, fire won't break it, water won't wet it, and soil cannot bury it. It has been more than 50 years since my grandfather obtained it. It has never changed, and it still looks the same as before. Is that so? Su Jingxing was interested now. How did great-grandpa Zhang get this then? Fished it from the water, Zhang Shanfu's father replied. Fished, from the water? To be precise, this was dug out from the belly of a fish, Zhang Shanfu explained. On the southern bank of the Sky Water River, my grandfather caught a 2-meter-long fish. After dissecting it, he discovered this small thing in the belly. Of course, it's also possible that the big fish swallowed this and then it remained in the belly, never dissolving, never rotting, never coming out until now. It's hard to calculate how long this thing has been around for. Su Jingxing muttered. Yes. Zhang Shanfu nodded. It's very strange, but it's useless. At least, we don't know how to use it. It's been like this for 50 years. Little Su, take it. Perhaps you can discover its secret. I believe that it will definitely show itself in your hands. Uncle Zhang, you must be joking. I don't have that ability. Su Jingxing rejected him with a smile. Although this thing is useless, as you've said, it's been in your family for more than 50 years. With such a long period of time, it is no different from a family heirloom. It's very memorable, so I think we should forget about it. Thump. Without another word, Zhang Shanfu dropped to his knees. His father also knelt down. Seeing this, the rest also followed. Hey, don't be like this. Su Jingxing was speechless. Who would forcefully give things away? He was not speaking contrary to his true intentions either. This little wooden sword was indeed strange, but Zhang Shanfu's family did not find any secrets for more than 50 years that it was with them. Why would there be new discoveries once it was in Su Jingxing's hands? But Zhang Shanfu's actions made it clear that if Su Jingxing would not accept it, they would not get up. Helpless, Su Jingxing could only nod. All right, I'll accept it. Please get up quickly. Okay. Zhang Shanfu smiled and prepared to stand up. Pa. From the side, his father suddenly slapped him on the back of his head. Zhang Shanfu shuddered and continued kneeling. He quickly said, little Su, there's one more thing. I heard that you're renting a house outside, right? Yes, why? Su Jingxing was puzzled. Cough. Zhang Shanfu coughed lightly and said seriously, it's like this. My old house has always been empty. It's located on the southern bank of the Sky-Water River. I was frightened and fell into the river this time because I went back to repair it. On the way, I accidentally discovered the monster in the water. After this incident, I've been planning to sell the old house. When we heard that you were renting a house outside, Dad and I immediately decided to give you the house as repayment for saving me. But didn't you already give me this wooden sword? Su Jingxing wanted to refuse. Although he wanted a house of his own, he would not go so far as to take someone else's old house. That's different. Zhang Shanfu waved his hand and said, this little thing is actually just an added extra. The house is the real repayment. Little Su, don't think too much about it. Our family has moved into the city for almost 20 years. If we leave the old house empty without tidying up, it will become abandoned. But the maintenance will cost us quite a bit every year. Giving it to you will save us the trouble. Pa. The old grandfather slapped Zhang Shanfu on the head again. What are you talking about? The old man scolded with a glare, what do you take little Su for? What do you mean trouble? Are you really repaying his kindness? You. Are you trying to be the death of me? Ah. Pa. 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 The more he spoke, the angrier the grandfather became. He held Zhang Shanfu down and gave him a good beating. Su Jingxing hurriedly tried to dissuade Grandpa Su. While he was placating him, he agreed, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. All right, the old house it is. Although Zhang Shanfu's family did not have much money, that was referring to big money. According to Su Jingxing's understanding, Zhang Shanfu's house was beside a pedestrian street in the Western District. It was a residence upstairs and a shop downstairs, the kind with a small courtyard at the back. Hence, without the old house, it did not affect them much. In particular, the mutated beast in the water had been causing a lot of trouble recently. Many people had died. Now, not many people were willing to stay in the small courtyards on the southern bank. Such small courtyards at the foot of the mountain weren't already worth much, not to mention the scare by the mutated beast now. Su Jingxing accepting it had indeed helped Zhang Shanfu. Zhang Shanfu was being serious about giving him the house. Even the title deed and property rights were transferred to Su Jingxing. After accepting the house, Su Jingxing finally had his own little nest. To others, a small courtyard at the foot of the mountain was of little value, but Su Jingxing liked it very much. Zhang Shanfu's old house was less than 500 meters away from the crematorium. It was remote and quiet, which made it convenient for Su Jingxing to cultivate. It would be even better if he had a pet to look after the house. For example, the big white goose in the valley of the Green Cloud Mountain Range. Thinking of the white goose, Su Jingxing took out his little wooden sword. Zhang Shanfu and his family had tried all sorts of methods and experiments on this wooden sword, but none of them had figured out its secret. It would probably be the same in Su Jingxing's hands. But if I were to bathe in the white goose's innate divine power and strange silver glow, would I discover anything? The secret hidden in the secret manual of 8 Steps Rising Dragon had reappeared thanks to the strange silver glow. Su Jingxing thought for a moment and decided to give it a try. Of course, this matter was not urgent for now. After all, it had already waited for more than 50 years. Wan Rong was coming back soon. Su Jingxing prepared to get his revenge and dispel the original Su Jingxing's obsession before going to the valley. With his own home, Su Jingxing moved house the next day. Zhang Shanfu's old house had just been renovated. He could move in after changing the furniture and bedding. Initially, Su Jingxing had planned to hack into the lottery and get some prize money to buy an old-fashioned small courtyard like this. Now that he had the house, there was naturally no need to do that. Unexpectedly. While Su Jingxing had already given up on hacking, he really struck the lottery. He was really lucky. Third prize, after deducting taxes, there were still more than 1 million great dollars. Su Jingxing was overjoyed. It would be a waste to not take this money. Of course, I will have to disguise myself when I go to pick up the money. If he did not get Zhang Shanfu's old house, Su Jingxing was planning to go pick up the lottery reward from the hacking with his true appearance. All was great now, it had saved him a lot of trouble. And with this luck, there was no way to block it. After only one day, Su Jingxing woke up in the morning and suddenly received a notification from the Ethereal Sword Immortal's online lucky draw. He quickly turned on his computer and logged on to one of Unation's 3 major social networking sites, Big Fish Forum. Ethereal Sword Immortal's luck draw this time was held in this forum. After announcing the website, the lucky draw would begin half an hour later. Su Jingxing, who was already prepared, hacked into the back-end of Big Fish Forum and interfered with the process. And as it turned out, he successfully won. Not one person, but 2. Su Jingxing and Wei Jiejie were both selected. That's right. Ethereal Sword Immortal drew twice. This result shocked everyone who was paying attention to the lucky draw. They thought that there would be 2 people selected for the meeting appointment letters from the Ethereal Sword Immortal from now on. But not long after, the Ethereal Sword Immortal started a live stream on Big Fish Forum to explain the reason. She chose 2 people this time because she had something to do in the next year and would not be in Unation. It was equivalent to picking the person for the second half of the year in advance. After making clear the reason, everyone was greatly disappointed. A moment later, everyone's attention shifted to the 2 lucky people. Wei Jiejie and the fake identity that Su Jingxing had created, Yang Jian. F***ck, these 2 guys have it so good. That's right. I participated twice, but I didn't get chosen. I'm tired of my luck. Can I say that I've been waiting to be chosen for 10 years? Did anyone notice? Did anyone notice? The 2 lucky ones this time, Wei Jiejie and Yang Jian, are both from Chanyang Prefecture, Qinghe City. That's true. Is Qinghe City really that lucky? Both times, people from Qinghe City were selected. The luck of our Qinghe City is just that explosive. Why am I not from Qinghe City? The Big Fish Forum was in an uproar, voices of envy and jealousy were everywhere. Wei Jiejie and Yang Jian were both from Qinghe City. This made the people of Qinghe City feel proud and honored for some reason. There were close to 100 million people in each of the 18 prefectures in the Unation. The number of people registered on the Big Fish Forum was almost 300 million. Excluding repeated accounts and inactive accounts, the actual number of registered accounts amounted to about 200 million. Wei Jiejie and Yang Jian had been chosen by the Ethereal Sword Immortal out of 200 million people. How could people not be envious and jealous of such a 1 in 100 million chance? In Qinghe City, everyone who knew about Wei Jiejie and Yang Jian had mixed feelings. Especially Wei Jiejie. The moment she saw the results, she was stunned. He did it. Su Jingxing really did it. The probability of 1 in 100 million could actually be achieved. In the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain, Su Jingxing received the meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal from Big Fish Forum. This third-grade big shot would arrive at Qinghe City tomorrow. After Su Jingxing read the message, he stood up in satisfaction. Success. The third request, a meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal, had been successfully fulfilled. The moment he received the message, Su Jingxing felt his body lighten. Since he had received it, Wei Jiejie clearly would have too. Immediately, Su Jingxing retrieved the 8-step Rising Dragon secret manual from his storage space. After wrapping it up, he headed straight for the Wei family's dojo. Wei family's dojo. Wei Jiejie, who had received the letter, felt her brain buzzing. She could not come back to her senses. Until now, she still could not believe that she had obtained a meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal so easily. This was virtually as easy as picking up the phone and ordering food from a restaurant. One might not be able to get in line to order food, but the meeting appointment letter had been settled in one go. How did he do it? How did Su Jingxing do it? Wei Jiejie's face was blank and her head was spinning. When Su Jingxing entered the dojo from the back door, he saw this scene and coughed. Wei Jiejie didn't react. She was still in a daze. Cough. Seeing this, Su Jingxing coughed harder. Ah. Wei Jiejie woke up with a start and hurriedly hit her phone, afraid that the letter would be snatched away. When she saw Su Jingxing with a mask, she was shocked and couldn't help but ask, "How did you do it?" "Sister, sis. It's great. Sis, this is wonderful." Before Su Jingxing could speak, Wei Jieping's excited shouts came from outside the dojo. The young man moved very quickly. He ran excitedly past the entrance and shouted at Wei Jiejie from afar, "Sis, you've struck the lottery. You actually received a meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal. Did you receive the message? Hey, you're here too." Wei Jieping saw Su Jingxing and greeted him subconsciously. "You came back just in time." Su Jingxing used his usual roughened voice and said in a low voice, "The 3 requests have been fulfilled, and the deal between us is now over. I hope you guys take care of yourselves and don't do anything that doesn't match your capabilities again. This is a secret manual. Farewell." Throwing down the 8 steps Rising Dragon, Su Jingxing turned and left. Wait. What do you mean the deal is over? Aren't there 2 more requests?" Wei Jieping shouted from behind, but Su Jingxing ignored him. He walked out of the dojo quickly and disappeared through the back door. Wei Jieping didn't dare to chase after him. He could only turn to look at Wei Jiejie and glare at her. "Sis, what's going on? Why did he say that the deal has ended? Didn't he only fulfill 1 request? Why, wait." Suddenly, a thought struck Wei Jieping and he said in disbelief, You received a meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal this time. Was it one of the requests?" Wei Jiejie was silent. "Tell me. Was it?" Wei Jieping roared. As for the 8 steps Rising Dragon secret manual that Su Jingxing put down, he didn't even look at it. Since Su Jingxing dared to send the secret manual back, it meant that he had already mastered or copied it. Regardless, the 8 steps Rising Dragon secret manual was no longer important. This secret manual was actually a hot potato in the hands of the siblings. It was actually a good thing to give it to Su Jingxing. Wei Jieping had been delighted when he later thought about the deal they had made. Because he had shifted the trouble away. In the end, Su Jingxing returned so quickly. Wei Jieping's heart was racing and he was panicking. Wei Zhejia's silence terrified him. At the same time, he couldn't control the anger at the bottom of his heart from rising. Say something. What's with the other two requests? Is the meeting appointment letter from the ethereal sword immortal one of them? Wei Zheping's face flushed red as he roared at Wei Zhejia. Yes. Wei Zhejia lowered her head and spoke softly. Heh, good, very good. He took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. Gritting his teeth, he said, what about the one left? What did you exchange it for? Wei Zhejia was silent for a moment before she said ashamedly, a fresh stalk of Mayan flower. Mayan flower? Wei Zheping's face twitched. Then, his expression slowly turned hideous. Mayan flower? Good, what a good Mayan flower. Really good, wonderful. Pa. He suddenly raised his hand and landed a slap on Wei Zhejia's face. The force was so great that Wei Zhejia was flung backward and almost fell to the ground. Before Wei Zhejia could react. Pa. 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 Wei Zheping rushed over and slapped Wei Zhejia's face again and again. He snarled as he struck her. Despicable. You selfish, despicable, and shameless person. How did my Wei family produce such an ungrateful person? Shame. You are the greatest disgrace to our Wei family in the last few hundred years.